On a cold Christmas Eve in the quiet rolling hills of Fayetteville, West Virginia, the Sodder home glowed like a warm little lantern in the middle of winter darkness, its windows shining with golden light, offering comfort against the biting cold. Inside, the soft laughter of children drifted through wooden rooms, bouncing gently off the walls, blending with the faint crackle of the fireplace. It was the kind of warmth that made the world outside seem far away, the kind that made a simple winter night feel safe. But under that warm glow, something else settled across the valley, something uneasy, faint, like a whisper of trouble brushing quietly through the rafters. No one in the Sodder house could name it, no one could see it, but it was there, hiding in the silence, as though the darkness itself was holding its breath, waiting for a moment that would echo through American mystery for generations. Just past midnight, when the whole town slept under a thin skin of frost and not a single sound broke the still night, strange thuds struck the Sodder roof, sudden, heavy, and unlike anything the family had heard before. A moment later, the house lights flickered in an unnatural rhythm, blinking rapidly even though no fuse had blown, and far off in the distance, faint but unmistakable, came the low hum of an engine, then silence again, as if whatever, or whoever, had been there slipped into the trees without being seen. Yet inside, the Sodder children, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny Jr., and little Betty, slept peacefully upstairs, tucked beneath warm blankets, their faces calm and innocent. They had no idea that in a few short minutes their names would become the heart of one of the nation's most chilling, unsolved disappearances. When flames suddenly erupted in one corner of the house, rising faster than any fire should, climbing eagerly up the walls like something alive, George and Jenny Sodder were jolted awake. The heat was already pressing in, smoke curling along the ceiling with impossible speed. Panicked and terrified, they ran to gather whoever they could, shaking children awake, dragging 5 of them through choking smoke, through the front door, and into the brutal winter air. But once outside, once George and Jenny were breathing the freezing night air under the orange glow of their burning home, they began counting heads, and their hearts broke. 5 children were still inside. Every instinct in George's body told him to run back in. Every fiber of Jenny's heart begged for her to save them. But in the frantic seconds that followed, everything that could go wrong did. The staircase collapsed before George could reach it. The ladder he always kept at the side of the house was missing. The coal truck he tried to use to climb to the second-floor window mysteriously refused to start, though it had worked earlier that same evening. Neighbors arrived, desperate to help but powerless, and by the time the fire department reached the scene, the home was already collapsing inward, swallowed whole by flames. In less than 45 minutes, the Sodder house was gone, nothing left but glowing embers and drifting smoke. And stranger still, in the days that followed, investigators found no bodies in the rubble, not bones, not fragments, not even traces of remains, nothing that suggested 5 children had been consumed by the fire. Experts later insisted that a house fire, even a hot one, does not burn bones completely. Jenny herself tested it, burning animal bones over and over in a stove hotter than the house could have ever reached. The bones never disappeared. Something wasn't right. And as the story unfolded, the strange details only grew. And then there was the bus driver. He reported seeing glowing fireballs thrown toward the Sodder home that night. It raised a terrifying possibility. Was the fire not an accident? Were the children not victims of the flames, but taken before the fire ever touched them? The Sodders clung to this hope and this fear, pouring their lives into finding answers. They built a massive billboard along Route 16, pleading for information. Travelers came from states away. Letters poured in from across America. Some offered sympathy. Some claimed to know what had happened. And one envelope changed everything. Inside was a photograph of a young man. Dark hair, strong jaw, a face eerily similar to Louis Sodder, the son who would have been that age if he had survived. On the back of the photo was a cryptic message, a message the family never fully understood. It reopened wounds they were trying to live with. Did Louis survive? Was he sending them a sign? Were the other children alive too? Investigators proposed theories: kidnapping by local criminals, child trafficking rings, political retaliation. But none of the theories matched the facts neatly. None could explain everything. And the town remained divided. Half believed the children died in the fire. Half believed they were taken. As years passed, the story hardened into a legend. a cold case that refused to warm with time. The Sodders aged, but their grief never softened. George died believing his children were alive somewhere, waiting to be found. Jenny spent the rest of her life wearing black, mourning not just what she lost, but what she could never prove. Even today, the hills of West Virginia seem to hold the mystery like a breath frozen in the air. Locals still whisper theories. Travelers still stop at the old billboard, and the unanswered question still hangs over the ruins like a shadow. What truly happened to the Sodder children? Were they lost to the flames, or lost to something far more chilling? Somewhere in those quiet hills, the truth waits. A truth that has spent decades whispering through cold Appalachian wind, hoping that someday, someone will finally listen.